Hello everybody and welcome to Robert Sarazin Blake from the kitchen table. I'm Robert Sarazin Blake and this of course is the kitchen table, and here we are. I believe this is episode 4 or is it episode 5? Hey David? Bringing David right in right at the top here. David Pender Lofgren is the producer of this operation. He keeps track of these things. This is episode 4 and it's Easter. They've rolled the stone away and Jesus is not there, and here we are on this beautiful day in Bellingham, Washington, the most northwest city in the most northwest state in the lower 48. It's beautiful, it's sunny, very windy, and we're celebrating in isolation. Everybody is right now, but we're going to celebrate in isolation together. Let's celebrate the social distance, and as we get going, we're going to kick in with the candles. Now, I know a lot of people think this is the most interesting part of the show, and I can't blame you, but I'm wishing myself luck, and I hope you're wishing me luck with the candles. We'd like to light candles first. On the farthest purple candle here for everybody we've lost. There are a lot of lives being lost, and we're going to light this candle for all the lives lost to COVID-19. We're going to light this candle here for everybody who is suffering, either because they've lost someone they love, or maybe they've lost a job and there's fear for the future. And for the suffering, we're going to light candle number 2. And a fresh candle over here. We're going to light a candle for hope and gratitude, because although so much is wrong, we have a lot to be grateful for, and we have hope for a better future. Just light this candle here. Come sit down, we're lamenting yesterday's sad ending, about the water and the whiskey. The brass passed off as gold, another round. We're descending into old-time memory of a day when wood was wood, silver, silver, gold was gold. Come sit down, we're lamenting yesterday's sad ending, about the water and the whiskey. The brass passed off as gold, another round. We're descending into old-time memory of a day when wood was wood, silver, silver, gold was gold, sweet home was home. It's been quite a week here. Bernie Sanders suspended his campaign, and within the same 24 hours we heard that John Prine died. Rest in peace, John Prine. You'll be remembered for a very, very long time. I got caught up this week thinking about John Prine. So settle in. I'm not going to do things a little bit different this week on the show. We have John Elliott coming up later on, but for right now, I cannot tell you the story of John Prine. I can only tell you my story of John Prine. The John Prine story for me starts in the back of a van. Which van it is, I'm not sure. It probably was my father's old brown Ford van, but it could have been my father's 1978 blue Volkswagen van that he bought from his friend Hersman, that I eventually was gifted for my 18th birthday. But then 6 months later I rolled that Volkswagen van when I fell asleep at the wheel at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But no matter what van it was, the John Prine story for me starts in a van listening to a cassette of John Prine. I'm sure there were John Prine LPs in the house, but in the 80s it was common practice to tape, cassette, record your LPs so you could listen to them in the car, back before everything was available to everyone all the time. If you wanted to hear John Prine in the car, you had to tape your LP. On summer road trips, my dad, my sister, and I would be driving around, and we each could take turns picking out cassettes. By the time I knew what I was listening to, I already knew all the John Prine songs from the first record very, 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 very well. And I've often boasted throughout my life, whenever the subject of John Prine has come up, that I learned more moral lessons from John Prine's first record than I did from the Bible. That first record, that first record. So good. The band kicks in right after his first intro by himself. You know which song I'm talking about. C chord starts playing. When I woke up this morning, things were looking bad. Seemed like total silence was the only friend I had. Bowl of oatmeal tried to stare me down and won. It was 12 o'clock before I realized I was having no fun. But fortunately I had the key to escape reality. John Prine did not record this record with his buddies. He recorded it with people he did not know down in Nashville at the American Sound Studios under the direction of Aretha Martin, who had previously worked with Aretha Franklin and King Curtis. This band was scratching its head when this country folk poet brought in 13 songs all in the same key of C. But they found a way, like all great bands do, to expand the musical texture without losing aim of supporting the core of the song. The album showcases not only John Prine's great songs, but incredible steel guitar and just enough groove to push it out of a square box that is traditional folk and country. And I can only guess the band brought some arrangement ideas to John. In fact, I think perhaps the song originally went, fortunately I had the key to escape reality, and you may see me tonight with an illegal smile. It don't cost very much, but it'll last a long while. But I'm thinking, when the band heard this along with his 12 other songs all in the key of C, one said, hey John, how about we try the chorus in 3/4 time? Fortunately I had the key to escape reality, and you may see me tonight with an illegal smile. Don't cost very much, but it lasts a long while. Don't you please tell the man I didn't kill anyone. Well, I'm just trying to have me some fun. I have no idea whether or not John was already doing the chorus in 3/4 time, or if the band added that, but I am almost 100% positive it was the band that suggested, hey, how about we do a funky little bass line right at the top of the second verse? Just for one bar. Go back and listen to it. It's incredible. The bass player comes in, a boom, 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 and then back to the acoustic guitar. Last time I checked my bankroll, things were looking thin, and thus this amazing record was made, a collaboration of one of the world's finest songwriters and some of the world's finest musicians, taking those songs to the next level. But it's not analysis of recording technology or grooves that I've been bragging about all these years. It's moral lessons. I've told people over and over I learned more moral lessons from John Prine's first record than I did from the Bible. Lesson number 1 from this song right here: don't be a complainer. Figure out how to make your own fun. Shall I sing it again? A lot of us have been thinking over the years, a lot of people think this song's about smoking marijuana. John Prine denies that, and I have to say that I was at least 10 years away from my first joint when I heard this chorus. What I took away from it is don't be a complainer and learn how to have your own fun. Shall I sing it again? Maybe I will. You may see me tonight with an illegal smile. It don't cost very much, but it'll last a long while. Don't you please tell the man I didn't kill anyone. Just trying to have me some fun. Hot dog bun, my sister's a nun. Moral lesson number 2: never let patriotism override your humanity. And your flake to cow won't get you into heaven anymore. It's already overcrowded from your dirty little war. Jesus don't like killing, no matter what the reason's for. And your flag cow won't get you into heaven anymore. Moral lesson number 3. Talk to old people. We had an apartment in the city. Me and Loretta like living there. It's been years since the kids were grown, left us alone, life of their own. John and Linda live in Omaha. Joe was somewhere on the road. We lost Davy in the Korean War, and I still don't know what for. Don't matter anymore. So if you travel down the street sometime, spot some hollow ancient eyes, please don't just pass them by and stare as if you didn't care. Say hello in there, hello. Moral lesson number 3 from Hello in There. Talk to old people. And there's also a smaller lesson that's not necessarily a moral lesson that comes in that song that I certainly picked up on, and maybe somebody else did. I learned that being somewhere on the road was a place a person could be, and immediately I knew I wanted to be somewhere on the road. Moral lesson number 4 comes from Donald and Lydia. Be present for your own life. They made love in the mountains, they made love in the streams, they made love in the valleys, they made love in the dreams. But when they were finished, there was nothing to say. It was mostly they made love 10 miles away. Moral lesson number 5 comes from the 6 o'clock news. There are consequences. That's the title of the song. There are consequences for your actions. Best to finish what you start. Wanda had a baby, 1951. Father was a stranger. Stranger was a son. Call that child James Lewis. Call these rooms a home. Changing all them diapers, polish all that chrome. Come on, baby, spend the night with me. Sneaking in the closet through the diary. Don't you know all he saw was all there was to see? Old town saw Jimmy on the 6 o'clock news. Blood was on the pavement, blood was on his shoes. Come on, baby, spend the night with me. Come on, baby, spend the night with me. There's also a lesson here for any songwriter out there. There's a lesson for any songwriter. I got a note there from the producer who said, for those of you just tuning in, got to let you know we're celebrating the life and work of John Prine right now. by singing parts of the songs, and I'm telling a few stories about my experience with John Prine. This is not the John Prine story, this is my John Prine story. We're talking about, to begin with here, we're talking about this moral lessons I learned from his very first record called John Prine. That one where he's sitting on a bale of hay in the blue denim shirt with the amazing band recorded. Where was it? It was recorded at the American Sound Studios with the same band that had worked with Aretha Franklin and King Curtis. And I want to let you know, if you're a songwriter out there, there's a lesson to be learned from this amazing song, 6 O'Clock News. And the lesson is, if you introduce a character in the first verse, and then in the last verse, use a nickname, a derivative of the name in the first verse, you'll invite intimacy with your audience, and they will appreciate it. The last moral lesson I want to share is from Far From Me. The moral lesson is, materialism is an empty religion, and try not to live in self-delusion. Well, I started the engine and I gave it some gas. Kathy was closing her purse. We hadn't gone far in the beat-up old car. I was prepared for the worst. Will you come see me tomorrow? I know I got too much to do. Well, question ain't really a question if you know the answer to. And the sky's black and still now on the hill where the angels sing. Ain't it funny how an old broken bottle looks just like a diamond ring. And the sky's black and still now on the hill where the angels sing. Ain't it funny how an old broken bottle looks just like a diamond ring. And those are just 6 of the songs on the album. There's another 6 or 7 songs on that first album, and of the half I'm not mentioning are the biggest hits from the record. But those are the moral lessons that came to me without having to go back and listen to the album again. They've lived with me ever since I heard them in the back of my father's band. Thanks, Dad. John Prine's first album came out in 1971, and a lot of critics will agree it is his best album. Some people will even wittily put down his future records, but hey, he was great out the gate. He was great out the gate. That's all there is to it. Like Van Morrison, who released Astro Weeks early in his career. When you're great out the gate. No need to deny it. Let's just celebrate it. He got on a roll then over the next, over the next 6 years, he puts out 5 more records. Over the next 7 years, he puts out 5 more records. Diamonds in the Rough, Sweet Revenge, Common Sense, Bruised Orange, and a 1979 Pink Cadillac. In the 1980s, John Prine releases Storm Windows, Aimless Love, and German Afternoons. While it's tempting to compare records, I prefer Hamill on Trial's view of records from the greats. He says they're like letters from a friend. He doesn't judge whether it's a good letter or a bad letter. He just knows he wants to read it. It's also very important to recognize that on every John Prine record there is a song, a verse, or a couplet, or perhaps just a line that is superior to other artists' entire albums. While I don't expect German Afternoons from 1986 is on very many people's Desert Island album list, it does start out with this stanza right here. You come home late, you come home early. You come home big when you're feeling small. You come home straight, you come home curly. sometimes it don't come home at all. Hearing that lyric and learning that lyric and singing that lyric, I bow in humbleness. John Prine introduces you into worlds with his lines that are so understandable you feel like not only could you have written them yourself, you feel like you have already written them yourself. And then he goes on to a line that is so impossibly good that only John Prine could have written it. About the time I entered high school in 1991, John Prine released The Missing Years. And what I didn't understand at the time, when I was digging into all the music and the writers I'd come to love and who would shape my poetic and worldview, I didn't understand that my heroes, my elders, were still producing great work. It was easy for me to assume at 16 years old that all their great work was behind them since they were middle-aged. Now I know is that only now, in April of 2020, is John Prine's great work behind him. He was making great songs then and continued to make great songs for another 30 years. He even left us with a song to listen to ease the pain of his leaving, called When I Get to Heaven. While there's no Donald and Lydia or 6 o'clock news on The Missing Years, there are songs that cut to the heart of the situation, and he'd already written those songs. He didn't need to write them again. On The Missing Years, there are songs that celebrate in his own charming way midlife acceptance of defeat, loss of control, and acceptance. Everything is cool, everything's okay, but just before last Christmas, my baby went away. I found it real surprising right then to hear me say, everything is cool, everything is okay, everything is cool, everything's okay. Kiss a little baby, give a little smile. If you take an inch, give 'em back a mile. If you lie like a rug and you don't give a damn, you're never gonna be as happy as a clam. There's a big old goofy man dancing with a big old goofy girl. Oh, baby, it's a big old goofy world. There's also the 6-minute epic, which does what all great John Prine songs do: irreverently illuminate the reverent, called Jesus, The Missing Years. It was rain, it was cold. Bethlehem was no place for a 12-year-old. So he packed his bags and he headed out to find out what the world was all about. He went to France, he went to Spain. He found love and he found pain. He found stores, so he started a shop. But he had no money, so he got in trouble with the cops. Kids from Israel didn't have no home, so he cut his hair and he moved to Rome. It was there he met his Irish bride, and they rented a flat on the Lower East Side of Italy, that is. Music publishers, bookbinders, Bible belters, money changers, spoon benders, and lots of pretty Italian chicks. Charlie bought some popcorn, Billy bought a car. Someone almost bought the farm, but they didn't go that far. Things shut down at midnight, at least round here they do. We all reside down the block inside 23 School. one year in college, I was probably 20 years old. I dressed up as John Prine for Halloween. It was an easy costume. I just carried a guitar around and answered a lot of questions. At one point, somebody asked me who I was, and when I told them, he started singing. Grandpa was a carpenter, built houses, stores, and banks. Chain smoked Camel cigarettes, hammered nails and planks. I was level on the level, shaved even every door. Voted for Eisenhower as Lincoln won the war. It was familiar to me, but I didn't know it as well as I should. I marveled at what could be conveyed with so few words. I bought a cassette copy of 1973's Sweet Revenge and heard it along with Dear Abby, Onomatopoeia, Please Don't Bury Me, and the annual favorite Christmas in Prison. And the food was real good. We had turkeys and pistols carved out of wood. On every John Prine song, there's greatness. In every John Prine record, there's greatness. In my late 20s and 30s, and early 30s, I went down to the Kerrville Folk Festival in Texas. I went for the better part of 10 years. The Kerrville Folk Festival is an 18-day festival. I met many great songwriters there from all over the country and all over the world who sweated all year in the Tower of Song and gathered in the Texas Hill Country for camaraderie. It was there I met Andrew Calhoun, who ran Waterbug Records, and heard his great song called Going Down to See John Prine. Growing up in Chicago, Calhoun saw Prine when Prine was just starting out, and Calhoun was younger than that. I'd sing it for you, but I can't do it any better than the man himself. So we got Calhoun on the line, and he's going to sing it to you from Illinois.
My folks did not go out much, not even a movie. Folk was politic back then, protesting, feeling groovy. They lived out in the suburbs, it was a special thing when they drove into Chicago to hear a mailman sing. That next week they took my sister, 1 week later they took me. Got a stamp on the back of my hand and I saw my destiny. Just an ordinary mailman with a gift for stringing words, who wrote and sang the greatest songs that we had ever heard. And everyone was different, and every time was new, and every other month or so we'd write a song or two, with the mugs of Coke and peanuts in the musk and cigarettes. We'd sit through rock star wannabes to hear John's second set. Hello in there in paradise and Flag to Cal again, and one he never did record. Will anybody be my friend? Will anybody be my friend? At Quinellen Junior High School, the guys called me a fag. My homeroom teacher called me out, I wouldn't pledge the flag. There was Johnny Cash on Wednesday nights to make life worth the time. Waiting for the weekend, going down to see John Prine. On Christmas there was no one in the old Fifth Peg's back room but our family and one couple listening in the gloom. Then I called out a favorite song. John stopped his show and smiled at me in a growing silence there. I felt like heaven's child. It's a blessing I would carry through trouble, dread, and tears. And I gave John a pocket knife that he kept for luck for years. 2 full sets, sometimes 3 each night, a double bill. Everybody knew the reason that black room began to fill, with a feature in the Daily News and 2 in the Sun-Times. There were folks from every walk of life going down to see John Prine. And so it was a joyful thing, and sorry now because it's just a ghost of memory how beautiful it was. That song so filled with loneliness should leave us less alone, as if to love your neighbor were as easy as the phone. He'd sing, friend that's been turned down, oh be a friend strangers felt like family then, going down to see John Prine. So we all were happy for his sake, when Goodman brought Christopherson to score John his big break. We'd see him at the Airy Crown, up there where he belongs. To think that now the hungry world would get to hear these songs. And a few years on in Boston, he went down to see his show, and we waited in the hallway, but he couldn't say hello. We saw him being interviewed. My sister Jane explained that's all part of his job now. Publicity's insane. The critics raved, the drunkards roared, the groupies got in line. It would never be the same going down to see John Prine. Sunday softball, for weeks they had it planned. John would come to play a game with his entire band. I had my year-old son there, we had brought him down to see a man who just ignored him and barely noticed me. He was out of shape and shouting like his good time wasn't real. Then he headed out for a private thing with the boys in center field. And I wished it didn't matter, and I wished I didn't care. Just my tough luck to love someone who wasn't really there. On a sunny summer afternoon, for me the game was blown. Who'd believe this strung out fool was the man who wrote Sandstone? At Rose Record Store on Ashland, 1987. Felt a mile awkward when I stopped in to see him. A woman had her picture taken with him there and signed, but it just made me nervous going down to see John Prine. And at his last accounting, there's bound to be a do with St. Peter and the Muses and Montgomery's Angel too, saying who's to speak for anyone, who's to cast a stone at one who eased our loneliness but couldn't bear his own. And if I reach the pearly gates when comes my time to go, hope St. Peter's not too busy to step out and say hello. Will he sing, a friend that's been turned down will be a friend of mine? Or stamp the back of my right hand, you're going down to see John Prine. There in the gloom I will request my favorite songs again. Paradise, hello in there, will anybody be my friend? That's paradise, hello in there, will anybody be my friend?
Thank you, Andrew Calhoun, for piping that in for us. Don't you just love that song? I love that song, that journey, that window into the mind and the times of somebody who was there when Prine was starting out. For the rest of us, just Prine existed as a force larger than life. I love Andrew Calhoun's journey in his song of dealing with not only the performer, but also the song. And not only the performer, not only the songs, but also the man. The realization that Prine is indeed a human and puts his pants on one leg at a time and gets drunk and makes mistakes. His fans know this, and the songwriters know it too. But I believe I'm not alone as a songwriter in believing somehow John Prine flies above it all. In my 30s, I worked at the Mount Baker Theater in Bellingham as a stagehand. For the first half of my time working there, the house lights were still controlled by resistance dimmers, which lived in the projection booth up behind the balcony. For those who don't know theater terms, the house lights are the lights that go over the audience, and resistance dimmers control the amount of electricity going to the lights by way of huge handles that need to be pulled 180 degrees and then switched off. In a modern setup, it's a quick flip of a little switch on a light board. In this historical theater, at that time, It required one stagehand for the entire show to be on hand to flip and turn the large handles to make the lights go up and down. I've never spent a more enjoyable wage-earning hour than the 90 minutes I spent in the back row of the balcony after turning the house lights down, listening to John Prine, knowing all I had to do was to be ready to turn the lights back on after the encore. I got to hear a master at work, somebody whose songs had been living inside of me all of my life. A friend of mine who's 20 years my senior told me after that concert, she said, I've been watching John Prine concerts for 40 years, and he plays many of the same songs that I know every word to, and each time I hear them live, I cry as though I'm hearing them for the first time. I was on a similar emotional ride as he played songs from his then 40-year career. I heard lots of songs I knew, and I also felt tears on my cheek. But what I was most excited about was hearing songs that I didn't know, that had somehow passed me by. We were standing by peaceful waters, standing by peaceful waters. Oh, many years later we found ourselves up in Canada, trying to save our marriage or catch a few fish, whatever came first. That night, she fell asleep in my arms, humming the tune, the Louie Louie. Oh, baby, we gotta go. We were standing by peaceful waters, standing by peaceful waters. For those of you just tuning in and maybe don't know, I'm doing a tribute to one and only great John Prine, playing bits of his songs and telling a few stories about my experience with John Prine. And I'm talking about working in the Mount Baker Theater somewhere around 2010 when I got to see John Prine. I was extremely excited when I received the call to be a stagehand for that John Prine show. Load-in at the theater for music events typically happens around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The crew arrives with sound equipment and band gear. The local stagehands help set up the lights and sound check the band. Sometimes the star of the show is there for sound check. Other times the crew can do it for him. I was excited to hang out with his crew and try to get a few questions in about their boss. Apparently John didn't hang out with his two-man sound crew but they reported he was friendly, and occasionally, on nights off, he would take the band out to very, very good meals with lots of drink. Luckily, I was able to angle my way into being the stagehand that got to assist the guitar tech. For those of you who don't know, there is a position in this world called the guitar tech. Their job is to travel with the artist and take care of their guitars. Depending on how many guitars the artist has, it can be a large or a small job. Keith Richards' guitar tech has a very large job. John Prine's guitar tech has a smaller job, but an important job. John has been played the same Martin D28 for the better part of his entire career. So you can imagine how excited I was when the guitar tech said to me, would you like to play the guitar? And I said yes. I got to play John Prine's guitar. Felt pretty good. And then I got the story that the guitar I was playing was not actually John's D28 because this particular guitar tech had dropped John's D28 a couple months previous and it was still in the shop getting fixed. The guitar I was holding was Steve Goodman's D28, the great folk singer Steve Goodman. This D28 had been gifted to John shortly before Steve Goodman died of leukemia in the 80s. It was a very, very, very good day to be at work. After the encore and the house lights were turned back up, I returned to the stage to help with the loadout. Now, it's not against the rules for stagehands to talk to the artist. In fact, sometimes it's necessary for stagehands to talk to the artist. Other times, while it's not necessary, it's certainly permitted, but it's definitely in the job description to do your job. And my job was not to go talk to John Prine after the show. My job was to load up the guitars, load up the band gear, the sound, and the lights. While I was doing that, I was hoping at some point John would walk across the stage between his green room and the tour bus, but he never did. And I was just hoping. I was making up reasons why I might have to walk in the back hallway from time to time, where it'd be more likely that John would be walking down and I'd be able to do something, you know. Finally, all the gear was loaded up and all the other stagehands had wandered off into the night. I took one last meander down the hallway, and there he was walking towards me. I gotta say hi to John Prine. I gotta shake John Prine's hand. I said, thank you for the show, thank you for all the wonderful songs. I ran the house lights. We were standing by peaceful waters. Standing by peaceful waters. Oh, 5 years ago, I was on a tour of Europe, playing small gigs to small groups of people in small rooms, which is something I'm looking forward to getting back to once I'm able to travel again, once we're able to gather again. Hey, this is pretty strange not being able to gather. Hey, this is pretty strange, turning my apartment into a television studio, but I'm having a pretty good time. Thanks for checking out my John Prine stores. I got a little bit more to tell you. 5 years ago, I was touring Europe, and I had a gig in Frankfurt. The next day I had a gig in Luxembourg, and the great Swiss singer Melissa Kassab was traveling with me. Taking the train from Frankfurt to Luxembourg, it's a beautiful, beautiful journey. It goes along the Rhine River. And for reasons I don't understand, it was unpopular. We were the only people on the train car for a good portion of the trip, and we had my guitar and we sang in the back of the train. We sang 2 songs over and over. We sang The Streets of Baltimore, as learned from Graham Parsons, and we sang Clocks and Spoons, another song that I'd somehow missed from John's second record, Diamonds in the Rough. We sang the songs over and over from the back of the train, watching the river roll. We were somewhere on the road. Clocks and spoons, empty rooms, it's raining out tonight. What a way to end the day by turning out the lights. Shoot the moon right between the eyes. I'm sending most of me to the sunny countryside. Clocks and spoons, empty rooms, it's raining out tonight. What a way to end the day, turning out the lights. Shoot the moon right between the eyes. I'm spent most of me to the sunny countryside. Prine's lyrics get so deep in us they become part of us. He's foundational. I would say everyone should learn a John Prine song, but I don't have to. You already know him. 6 months ago, in October of 2019, I was in John Prine's hometown. Not Chicago, not Nashville. Although he was born in Chicago and he lived in Nashville. I was in his last chosen hometown of Kinvara, County Galway, Ireland. I was with my mother and stepfather on their 30th wedding anniversary. I was the driver on their Irish holiday, and we'd been driving all day in the pouring rain, the last 5 miles of which had been on tiny country lanes because of a detour. Did I mention it was driving rain? I had intended to let them have an anniversary dinner by themselves on this trip we were taking, but there was only one restaurant open, and we were all hungry. I was charmed, of course, to be in Ireland, and even more so to be in John Prynne's hometown. Population 1,351 on the west coast of Ireland. And there I was, my parents' wedding anniversary, and I was eating in a restaurant that I could only assume John Prynne knew well. I asked the waitress, where does John Prynne sit when he comes in here? She smirked, and with a twinkle she said, well, right about where you're sitting. She told me the names of the pubs where he would be most likely to be found on a rainy Monday night in October in Kinvara. And after I walked my parents back to their B&B, I walked the streets, poking my head in the pubs. One of the pubs was closed, and one was very, very, very quiet. And that way, only an Irish pub can be quiet. You open the door, and there's no music playing, and there's 4 heads, and they all turn towards you. And you have a choice at that point whether to just walk right back out the door or go in and settle in and see if you can make some sort of connection. I didn't have it in me to try to make some sort of connection, and I don't think they wanted me to come in and make some sort of connection exactly that night. They were enjoying their quiet night. John Prynne was not in there. I walked back on the streets. I was charmed to be walking the rainy streets of the village where my hero had chosen to spend his time, for however much time he had left. And of course, he left us with a song to ease his leaving, saying, when I get to heaven, John Prynne says, when I get to heaven, I'm gonna have a cocktail, vodka and ginger ale, smoke a cigarette that's 9 miles long, gonna kiss that pretty girl on the tilt-a-whirl. Ah, this old man is going to town. Sing it with me. I'm gonna have a cocktail, vodka and ginger ale, smoke a cigarette that's 9 miles long, gonna kiss a pretty girl on the tilt-a-whirl. Oh, this old man going to town. Thank you, John Prynne, for all of your beautiful songs. We're a better human race because of your work. My name's Robert Sarazin Blake, and we're just getting started here. We're just getting started at From the Kitchen Table. I hope you're having a good time. That's the end of the John Prynne monologue, but it's not the end of the show. And of course, as you know, we always have a guest on From the Kitchen Table. And today our guest is all the way from San Francisco. He's been sheltering in place. He's ready to sing a few songs, tell you what's going on in his world. He's a good friend to the Subdued String Band Jamboree. He's a great friend to me. Make him feel welcome at the kitchen table. Raise a glass to John Elliott.
All right. Okay. I think I'm live here. Sweet. Oh, that was beautiful, Robert. I took some notes here for my set. That was beautiful. I'm in my kitchen, as per the theme here. This is my kitchen. I don't have a kitchen table, so it's just the kitchen. And I'm gonna go. First of all, Happy Easter too. So I've got a 3-song John Prynne tribute into Easter, somewhat secular Easter inspired songs. But I do want to share this one thing about John Prynne before I start playing the song, and that is that that song Lake Marie, there was a time a while ago now when I was engaged to be married, and then I did not get married. And it was obviously that was a difficult and a challenging time. But somebody introduced me to this song in the beginning of that period, and that song Lake Marie was like, I had such an intimate relationship to that song. I couldn't listen to it without crying for several years, and it was like this slow healing process. Every time I would listen to that song, it would make me feel less alone, and it would make me feel better. It is such a visceral reminder of the beauty and the importance of music, and I have a direct connection to it. And so, in the wake of that, I directly ripped it off. So I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play the chorus, then I'm gonna go into my song. And I never referenced the fact that that song inspired this song. I'm only doing it here. Don't tell anybody, because I think it's an obvious ripoff. But it was just an inspiration. I was inspired. That song, Lake Marie, blew my mind. I'd never heard a song like that. So I'm going to do a 3-song medley. And since there's no audience like giving me applause, I'm just going to kind of go straight through, kind of how Robert just did. So 3 tunes and then back to you, Robert. I'll give you, Robert, this. He wants to try to be more interactive here, so ask each other questions. So Robert, my question for you is, what's the earliest song you've written that you would still play? And can you share it with us, or can you just tell us about it? Okay, so we were standing by peaceful water, standing by peaceful water. Oh, 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 and all my friends are in the valley, yeah. I've been down at the valley, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Picture Tina Turner showing a lot of leg. There's a marionette, Japanese looking, hanging from the lamb. Peacock feathers and a vase of eyes, and my jacket hangs askew. It was up to me, it was up to you. Now everyone's faces are looking a little tighter, but everyone's prospects are looking a little brighter. The losers are losing, the winners are winning, and both of them are looking. Both of them are looking. And all my friends are in the valley, yeah. I've been down like the valley, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Not long ago, not far from here, I met a girl. She was interesting and she smelled good, and one looked like to another. So I flew there, she flew here. I went there, she came here. She moved here, and I stayed here, and we moved in together. And we moved out together. And all my friends are in the valley, yeah. I've been down, but I can rally, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. bullet hole in the door. This neighborhood's seen that before. Most of my friends I don't see anymore. Or even talk to. She's here to drive around. Maybe I'll run into her. I know what a car looks like. But last night I turned on the computer, and I turned on the internet, and I turned on the radio. I haven't got a television set. Two guys were talking, two guys were trying, two guys were trying. Isn't anything at all. It's not about money, it's not about time. It's not about truth and it's not about crime. It's not about who you hurt or who you hate. It's not about who left you, who set you straight. It's not about your father, it's not about your dad. It's not about your grandpa who had what you don't have. It's not about the army, it's not about the Lord. It's not about the masses who touchdowns. It's not about your big buck stores, your big buck towns. It's not about your farm shacks, your rundown towns. It's not about your churches and 11 parking lots. It's not about what he's got. It's not about what you got. We all got nothing. We both got nothing. And all my friends are in the valley, yeah. I've been down. We were standing by peaceful waters, standing by peaceful waters. Oh, I, oh, I. Natives restless, they cannot protect them, they cannot pay up or get out. They are selling this city, they are selling this country, the natives give it up now. I was tangled in trouble, cornered and humbled, I'll go out, I'll go through, I'll do the best that I'm able to do. Give me time and I'll crash the party. I had all that I wish for, all that I hoped for, all that I thought to have. In the cage, in the rain, what I know. I've got God on my side. I've got anger and I've got my pride. Give me time and I'll crash the party. I'll crash the party. I'll crash the party. I'll rise again. I'll rise again. I'll rise again. I'll rise again. The pirates are taking over. The pirates are jumping in. We had it once. We'll always have that. You better pack your suitcase. We're gonna have to go. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I don't know. The good times are here for a good while. I see you. So come on now, let's be clear. We gotta be clear here. We gotta be clear. We gotta be clear. Pavement was electric. She was so eccentric. I was so annoyed. I'm just a little boy. I want to play with you. I want to fool around. I don't want to love you yet, but I will love you now. I will love you now. We are gonna die. It's gonna happen soon. I will stay with you if you want me to. If you want me to. If you want me to. I wanna be here for a long, long time now. I wanna live here for a long, long time. I wanna live for a long, long time. I wanna be here for a long, long time now. I wanna live here for a long, long time. I wanna live for a long, long time. I wanna be here for a long, long time now. I wanna live here for a long, long time. I wanna live for a long, long time. I wanna live for a long, long time. I wanna live for a long, long time.
Well, we're back, and you would think because John lives so close to Silicon Valley that his stream would be coming so super strong, but thanks everybody for hanging in. Everything got kind of lo-fi there. Lo-fi, not in a 90s recorded this record in my bedroom kind of way. Lo-fi in a John's guitar sounds like it has flange on it kind of way, and then his voice even sounds a little bit electronic kind of way. Well, I don't know what to say, but thanks for hanging in. We have all of our best technicians working on the job here from the kitchen table, and we're trying to figure it out. John, if you can hear me, I think what the plan is now, unplug every other device in your house that might be drawing some internet signal, and have you do one more after this in hopes that we can get a better signal from you. But as it's coming out, it's a little bit thin. Maybe someone's hacking into your line. Put a few jars in the tip dollar. Put a few dollars in the tip jar, and John can take that money and he can buy a little bit of stronger internet for himself. He does a live show every Monday at 11 a.m. and I've watched him, and they've been pretty good, so I know it's possible to get a good stream all the way from San Francisco. So once again, John Elliott does do a show of his own at 11 a.m. on Mondays. Not a good time for me. John, Jesus, I'm trying to get some work done at 11 in the morning on Mondays to relax and enjoy my life. No, Mondays is a time to not enjoy your life. It's to do the things you do not want to do. That's what Mondays are for. Where are we? That's right, John had a question to me. He said, what is one of the earliest songs I've written that I still perform, or still could perform, or even just talk about? So I'm going to attempt to perform. I'm going to kind of do it all because the song was really just talking anyways. John Elliott is one of my favorite all-time performers, so go and check him out when he's touring around. He had a big tour planned this summer. He's going to bicycle all through red states, having conversations with people. Following the Lewis and Clark Trail and ending at the Subdued String Band Jamboree the second weekend in August. We are still planning the Jamboree, but we don't know. People ask me. I don't know. Nobody knows. We're all of a sudden in a time and place where we can't plan. And for some of us, that's kind of fun. And for some of us, that's very, very, very frustrating. Take a deep breath. We can't plan. I was not planning to do this song, but we're going to do this song here. off of my first record called Another Irrelevant Year. Available only on cassette. Released in 1998. The cassette, I still have some, you can order one. But you have to, there's a rule, you have to own at least 5 other Robert Sarazin Blake albums before I will allow you to hear my very first album. Quite frankly, I did not record in Tennessee with the American Sound Studio, and my songs were not as good as John Prine. So it's kind of for fans only, you know. Where were we? Off the first record for John Elliott, my buddy in San Francisco. All the hours spent tuning my guitar, I didn't have the ear for it. You played notes on electric piano all afternoon to get it right. You had to go. I walked you home playing my guitar. We were friends then. Friends always think they'll be friends forever. And I lost it after you once, but it was only for a short time. I think you liked me too, but it was only for a very short time. In a new school, you became my friend. Talking on the bus, noticing the REM button on your green jacket and blonde hair, nose turned up. Not the kind of girl to go for mushy stuff. And I lost it after you once, but it was only for a short time. I remember what you were wearing, blue jeans and a big wool sweater. And I must admit, I thought about kissing you and putting my hand under it. The big wool sweater, it was only for a short time. To your first concert, and I had already seen Bob Dylan, John Prine, and Joan Jett. Watching Robin Hitchcock, I remember you moshed. I think I tried it. I don't think I liked it very much, but I remember liking Hitchcock, and I can't imagine why. When you're 15, water only falls from the sky, and girls you go to concerts with are always more than alright. I lost it after you once, but it wasn't that night. I lost it after stardom and being in the lights. When the lights go down, and teasing me when you came to my concerts. You came to my first concerts. You laughed at my bad jokes. You tried to protect your friends from me, but I wasn't afraid of embarrassing the only girl I had a crush on. And blonde hair, nose turned up, not the kind of girl to go for mushy stuff. I lost it after you once, but you took your place. But you never really liked me. Junior high school, such a dangerous place. And friends always think they'll be friends forever. When I send it over to John, see if he's able to get a little bit better signal there, and then we'll be back with some more music. Thanks for hanging with us on Easter, indeed. And if John is able to hear this, which I can't imagine he can, but we'll see if John will play not the first song he's written, but the most recent song he's written. Looks like we got John now. Okay, we'll see you in a bit.
All right, let's try this new setup here. That's weird. So I was trying to go with the kitchen vibe for the kitchen table, but maybe the Wi-Fi is not as good in here. This is where I do my Monday broadcasts from, so maybe this will be better. And if not, I'm just not going to be on the show. It's not going to happen. I also thought maybe this live stream, maybe only Robert Sarazin Blake songs can be played on Robert Sarazin Blake's Facebook. So I'm going to do a Robert Sarazin Blake song. So I don't know if you're planning on playing this one, Robert, but parents getting old, parents getting ill, don't have any kids, wonder if I will. If I had a second life, I might do things differently, but I love the life I have. I love to see what I can see. Freedom of a lonely night. Okay, 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 okay. I'm not 22, I live like I am. No job, no wife, no house. Kiss away the girlfriend. It all could change so fast, and maybe it will. I'm trying to keep my distance. I'm trying to get my fill. Freedom of a lonely night. Okay, 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 okay. The freedom of the lonely night. Okay, 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 okay. Though I try to walk in peace, I've broken a few hearts. There was one I shattered, believing greatness comes from a lonely mind, and I'm just trying to be good. Anything goes when you're good and gone. I think I know what's happening. I love it when I'm wrong. Whispers in the ear for whom the bells chime. Mother's voice at sundown. I know it's time. The freedom of the lonely night. Okay, 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 okay. The freedom of the lonely night. Okay, 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 okay. Yeah, all right, okay, okay. I don't know if it was good or not, but I'm sending it back to you. I'm not sending it back to you yet, so you figure it out yourself. Yeah, we wanted to try to have a conversation. What's the conversation? Let's see. How about lone gunman theory, Robert? We just watched JFK or Oliver Stone again, and I have been really into the 17-minute Bob Dylan song. Every time I listen to it, I weep. And I also reread the Stephen King book 11/22/63, which is about time travel book about the Kennedy assassination. So the question to you is lone gunman, conspiracy, Castro, mafia, sort of a CIA situation, Johnson, what's the deal? That's my question. Yeah?
There's only one answer to that question. The answer lies in a song called Murder Most Foul. You know that, and I know that, and everybody else needs to find that out their own way. Well, I don't know how we're doing. People write into us, tell us how, if it's come across better. We can't really tell here. We're in Command Central, but it does not mean we know what's going on. John requested I do this one here. I'll do this, and we'll see. We'll take notes, see if we can get another blast from Mr. Elliott down there in San Francisco. Found them 3 days dead, 3 bodies in their own house, their own guns, lying in the heat in their own house, their own guns. Wish I could forget that room. Some minds go black, not themselves till they come back. Used to see them on Saturdays in their own house, their own guns. Worked with them at the school in their own house, their own guns. My mom and dad, a 1-year-old kid in their own house, their own guns. Floors full of blood. Thought there might have been trouble, but I didn't pry. Some things happen, you never know why. Found 3 days dead, 3 bodies in their own house, their own guns. Couldn't breathe and I couldn't blink in their own house, their own guns. The floor just passed me by in their own house, their own guns. Wish I could have them back, but I can't even cry. Some minds go black, not themselves till they come back.
Back on. All right. So good. I don't know if the sound's working or not. We got internet, scraps of internet. We're trying the best we can. We're doing the best we can. Since I met Robert down in Texas, I'm going to do a song about Texans. This will be on my new album that is, I just sent the final mixing and mastering notes this morning. So I'm excited about that. I know Robert's last album was the double EP, and I just finished my double album. So way too much content. Never going to get through it all. I think I'm going to release it in 2 parts. Oh, this is going to be wrong. It's going to be like this, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Okay, this is called Texans Not From Texas. And if it sounds like I'm in a submarine, that's the vibe, man. Never trust a Texan, not from Texas. Texans not from Texas always talk, and the truth gets tangled up the more they do, till it's no longer true. That's why they had to run away to Texas. Poverty is poisonous and ancient. Poverty is evil in disguise. Poverty of money does not matter. The poverty of spirit leads to lies, and lies become repeated and recited. Lies become endemic and believed. Lies become the gossip and the gospel, and lies become the truth eventually. So all the talk the talkers talk is worthless, and all the songs the singers sing decay. The truth the preachers preach will one day crumble into a punchline the poets learn to say. So I disavow the words I've said to everyone. An angry man should never be believed. A jealous man is worse and should be pitied. No one was born who was not first conceived. So I am born anew now, and I promise silence to the talkers and their minions, violence to the violent and their talkers, and nothing to the Texans not from Texas. Yeah, yeah. So wonderful to play for you from my submarine.
I think it's coming across better. Send us a line. Somebody drop a line. Because I got so involved with the John Prine situation, we didn't get a chance for check-ins. I mean, who's out there today? Who's listening in? Let's have some check-ins. Let's see what's happening. Rosemary Nelson, Patrick, Kirsten, are you in the mix there? I don't know. Scott Maurerman was there at the top. Is he still hanging in? How about Larry and Rose over there in Buffalo? Who else? We had some interesting people chime in there. Oh yeah, we had Stefan from If you look way back in the comments, you'll see that Stefan said we sang the Wild Rover once at an Irish bar in Ulm. And it is true. A long time ago I had a gig in Ulm, and it was a very funny little gig. It was a loud bar. Definitely not the kind of place where I could do like a 45-minute monologue about anything. Which, you know, there are some aspects to playing to a room that's empty where I can really do anything, and I don't ever feel, you know, as small as you feel when you're in a room and absolutely everybody is talking all around you, and you feel like, okay, I'm just making some wallpaper noise for people. Well, you can get into that vibe, you know, keep it positive. But in Ulm, I was trying, but the bar had only one microphone, so I had to hold the guitar up to my head like this. And that was a bad starting place. It was a rough gig, and I guess it ended in a way that we sang the Wild Rover. Maybe I stood on the bar. When all else fails, I have a tip for you, aspiring singer-songwriters. Stand on the bar. You don't always make friends that way with the bartenders and the bar owners, but people remember you. And as the great Thomas Deacon says, it's so good. It's so good. We either bring or leave impressions. Well, we bring excitement and we leave impressions, something like that, when we're doing our job, right? But in Ulm, I did have the one and only person tell it to me straight. Just tell it to me straight. There is something about someone having to speak in a language that's not their first language, which there can be such clarity. And the guy said to me, I've been listening to you, and it's clear there's no melody. I mean, do you not listen to Brahms or Beethoven? You need a bit of melody. I was like, I'm doing the best I can, man. I'm doing the best I can. Oh, let's sing one. Let's sing one for all the people who are working so hard out there. I do this one a lot, but what can I say? It's relatively new, and I like this tune. So. Because it is amazing what we can do as human beings working together. Look at all the things we have done. A lot of them haven't worked out well, but it was amazing that we could do them anyways, man. So let's work together. Let's build a better future out of this strange time. Let's build a more democratic future out of this strange time. Let's build a future where everybody is okay. I can think about what would I give up if I knew everybody would be okay. I can give up a lot. We're worried ourselves in our isolation, but there are people who are dying, and there are communities that really need our help and support. So I'm thinking about that right now. I'm awed by bridges. They fill me with wonder. They fill me with awe. But don't neglect the grandeur. Hands pour the pilings. Smooth concrete. Lifted the stones. Played out the vision of the eyes at the desk, pencil in hand, cup of coffee, paper and calculation, architect with the plans, artist with the design, engineer with equations, men and women of desire. Politicians pass legislation, funding bills, the ways and means. Tax collector collected, clerk carried the one, put it in the right pile, we paid the bill in April, put it off, the addition. Didn't have the money, maybe next year, so we could all get somewhere else, other end of the valley, across the Russian River, Lake Pontchartrain, the orchards and fields, redwood trees, piers out in the ocean, ships across seas. And if it's rain, we might not notice. If the radio's strong, we might not see. Take it for granted, all that's expanded, all the hands it took to get to the other side. I'm awed by bridges. Go back to John for one more. John, give us another blast. My good buddy John Elliott. Oh, the word from our producer is that John has left the room, so I'm going to do another one before he comes back because John's not there anymore. John had to attend to something. What are we going to do up here with cable position 3? Oh, John's back. John's back. John's back. Hey, this is live television. I don't even have a TV. Whoever thought that I would end up in TV? Thanks for hanging with us. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's windy out there. I think it's happening. Good job.
Okay, great. It's working out great. Let me just take Robert off here. I was just making sure that we get the beef out of the freezer so it's defrosted for dinner. So that's just what I'm doing. Couple quick. I didn't realize that we would be looking at my desk here. So people have been asking. This is a Lithuanian flag. I'd sometimes gig in the Baltic states, and so I was given this Lithuanian flag, and I highly recommend these. If you ever want sweet pens, these Japanese pens are amazing. These are amazing. Le Pens, my favorite pens. I think that's all I'll show you from my desk. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. Thanks for having me, Robert. I love you, David. I love you. I miss you guys. This is fun. I don't know what's happened to our internet, but it's gotten weird the last 24 to 48 hours. So I don't know. Someone's maybe downloading a program or something. I'm going to leave you with this one, which is an older song of mine. And I really feel what Robert was saying. There's such a part of me that feels like this is an opportunity. And I felt that way about after 9/11 too. I felt like it was an opportunity and I felt like we squandered it. And I feel like we're getting a second chance opportunity here to rethink how we do things. And so I hope we don't squander this one. I mean, these images of the air quality in Los Angeles are unbelievable. It must be a new day. I might be the only man alive. You must be a new friend. I might be the meanest man alive. And it must have been like the old days when everyone was outside, just walking around. Or maybe it was one of those crazy days when a couple planes fly in and knock a couple buildings down. I've been dreaming of the apocalypse. I've been imagining that I'm the only one who survives. I'd go get some cigarettes, something to eat, and a book to read. I think after a long while I could forget this. Yes, I think. I think I could forget this. And that'll do it for me. Sending it back to you guys in Bellingham. Thanks for having me. I love you.
We love you too, John. I miss you. I miss John Elliott. We have a telephone relationship, John and I. We talk from time to time, and it always ends in, at some point I will be laughing so hard that I can't speak for a little while. One of my best buddies down there in San Francisco. Hey, put a few dollars in the tip jar, the PayPal, and the Venmo. John needs a better internet connection. That's something we've learned tonight. Even though he's close to the valley, he's trapped in the valley. He's trapped in a low internet signal. I did want to say earlier that last week Bob Fedna wanted to let us know that he was reading The Endurance, because I ask everybody, what are you reading? I hope that everybody gets a bit more reading time in this COVID times. And as I've mentioned before, I am reading The Path Between the Seas by David McCullough. But unfortunately, as you might notice by the bookmark, haven't made a lot of progress. Hey, there are disappointments in our lives, and all we can do is move forward. All we can do is move forward. The past is behind us. Forward is the only direction available. David Penderlofkin over here to my right. He's the producer. It's not his fault things are moving slow. It's that John's neighbors are downloading movies. They're streaming video games. I don't know what they're doing down there, but that's the signal. But David's doing the best he can, and without him this wouldn't be happening at all. So put your hands together for my friend David over here, and he's going to bring in, this was a request early on. I don't know who requested. Do you remember, David?
I forget.
It's not that we don't love, it's that we forget. The little disappointments we swallow, most often we choose to ignore. Obligations we employ them to keep us moving. The little disappointments we swallow, they get bigger put together. No children, no books, never left. never stayed our lives in our minds. It looked so good one time. Our lives vividly, like it, the little disappointments we swallow. Way better not to aim and train. And all that remains is in a very stolen scheme from the cave of good hope to a meadow with mallow. Walk every day, he enveloped in shadow of little disappointments we swallow. Most often it flows, days come and go, and plans to know. We look forward and smile, jog along miles, keep our eyes on the road, wake up and beat the crows, to keep our chins up high, keep the cups washed and dried, where the weight lurks in the corners, and occasionally finds us. Wait of a little disappointment. We swallow, they get bitter in our bellies, give us aches and pains, they get mixed up with our memories, they make us want to stop eating, or at least stop believing that the little disappointments we swallow are something our bodies can handle. The little disappointments we swallow, yeah, like the birds running south, picking up and falling, us suck the air from our dry mouths, our feet feel the weight of our bodies, clothes from the weight of the air, little stories we've been avoiding, pretending are not there. The little disappointments we swallow, little lies we keep to ourselves, bodies lay unsatisfied, television on the book, shelf of water in the air, unclimbed mountains still there, find a crooked formation, man hurts the nation, lost limbs, reputations, unknown constellations, all of Israel's invasions, all of Israel's invasions, all of Israel's invasions, little disappointments to swallow. Got to learn how to love all of the little disappointments we swallow. Well, it is Easter Sunday, the stone has been rolled away, and Jesus is no longer in the tomb. John and I were chatting before the show, and he let me know in Minnesota at the Catholic church that he went to that every Sunday there was a guest priest who came, and he said the name was Monsignor. He knows the name. I don't know the name. John, you'll have to put it in the comments. And Monsignor gave the same sermon every Easter, and John was paying attention, which is more than I can say for my attendance at Easter Mass. But I'd say if you in your teenage years attended an Easter Mass and you remember the name of your parish priest, you can just go ahead and enter that right now in the comments. I want to see how many people out there were paying attention, you know. But John said that the Monsignor who came on Easter Sunday said we cannot think of Easter as a noun, nor can we think of it as an adjective like Easter Sunday, but we need to think of it as a verb, as Easter is happening inside of us, as an activity. I'm not saying I understand that, I'm just passing it on. That is the Easter Sunday sermon John Elliott heard all his life. That might explain things, that might confuse things. Well, let's do one for my old man. My dad, he took a little spill and he got a broken rib, so he's healing up from that. So, love you, Dad. Speedy recovery, and we're going to do a song about your mother, my grandmother, Maxine here. Maxine didn't have a garden, She lived in a condo. Came over to my house after school and we'd go walking for cans, looking for cans, collecting cans. So punk rock was not new to me. My grandmother dived in dumpsters, brought home treasures for the family. My father shook his head as she offered him a beer found in her favorite place. Drink up, she said, there's nothing wrong with it. I learned class from my grandma. What you offer me, I'll take it. Something I learned from my grandma. When Maxine grew up, her parents weren't around. She rooted for the underdog whenever there was a game on. She gave me a drink at 13, said if it's all right with your father. She drank Manhattans, it's all right with me. I'd stop by her place, sometimes early in the morning. We'd have what she liked to call a treat. I learned it from my grandma. It's never really too early. Something I learned from my grandma. Maxine taught me God is love that led to confusion later on. When I met Christians, she let me help her light the candle on the altar. The church was dark and cool, there were mostly old people there. And after church we would go walking for cans, looking for cans, collecting cans. For anybody out there who's maybe young enough to not know, there was a time, especially up until the 90s, in the 80s, when you finished whatever you were drinking in your car, if it was in a can, you just threw the can out the window. That was a way of life, not a way of life that we thought was good, or looking back, it made a lot of sense. But there was a time when people thought there was so much land, water, air, trees that we could do anything with it. We would never make an impact that made any difference. We've learned from them. So as a kid in the 80s, my grandmother would take me walking. We'd go for these long, long walks. We'd be collecting cans, not to keep. We'd be collecting aluminum soda pop and mostly beer cans that we'd find on the side of the road. Sometimes she'd pick me up from school and say, hey, I saw a few on the way. Once we get home, we'll go back and find them. And indeed, we would drive back home, park the car, and go on a long walk in search of the missing aluminum can so that she could take the can down to the recycling center to take the money to buy fabric to make layettes for children. Grandmother Maxine. Grandmother Maxine. Where were we? At the funeral of the priest, he had written a poem entitled Tin Can Lady. She was somewhat well known. I think of her often and every now and then. I get the urge to go pick up a... In school they teach us if we all act in our own best interest, it'll be best for everyone involved. Learned resistance from my grandma. Tell my teachers I don't believe you. Something I learned from my grandma. Much love to all of you and all your families who I know you can't see today on this Easter Sunday. It's so weird to not be able to get together and have a few laughs. I miss everybody right now. I hope some of them are listening to me now, and I hope some of them are not listening to me now. How much time we got left for this program here?
Oh, we got about 6 minutes on the clock.
6 minutes on the clock. I was thinking of doing this one. I don't know why. We got two more for you. Thanks so much for spending your Easter Sunday with us. I sent a sketch in charcoal to an old lover on another New Year's Eve. When it came to the words, everything I'd said she'd heard, I signed, I wanted you. There's something for me. I'm the one who left, I'm the one who made you cry. You're the one who's on my mind when I get blue. Painted the flakes fly, covered nose in the castle's dye. Bobby Sands' age block, his real roadblock. The more I painted, the more I needed to see. I can't kiss your cheeks, fill your coffee with cream, pull the rock away by dreams. So I wanted you to have something for me. Painted out town the factories, transplant conifers and the Hebrides, bridges in Donegal, Philadelphia jail, and one after another, the sweet rolling sea. I know I've painted this picture before. Back then I was using yellows, now I'm using greens. Last night I drew something simple and new. The images were vague, the lines were plain. I wanted you, 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 I wanted you to have something for me. Happy Easter, everybody. We've got one more blast for you. You got to sing along on this one. We close the show every time. Robert Sarazin Blake from the Kitchen Table. I'm Robert Sarazin Blake. This is the Kitchen Table. And although he's not in the headline, there would be no show without him. Raise your glass to my friend David Penderlofgren over there. He put on the tie because it's the Easter holiday. And it was raised right. Don't know what that says about me in this open collar. All I know is somewhere along the line I learned the bigger the bee, the better the me. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Easter. I hope you found the eggs. I hope you, like me, found an appropriately colored shirt to wear today. We'll be back next week. If the stars align and the creek don't rise, Sierra Farrell will be our guest next week. Looking forward to hearing what she's up to. Well, it's great to see you, because we thought you were dead. Come back to life, to get out of your bed. It's great to see you. Was that your ghost? Thought you were gone. Burnt toast, it's great to see you. Whisper nothing, softly on your ear. Try not to cut short the moment that's here. Shadow it might be, the feeling's clear. I couldn't ask for anything more. It's all about the times we share. It's all about the times we share. That's what makes these times so hard. We're not allowed to share time in ways we usually are. Got to make the best of it. Got to read the books. Got to write in the journal. Somebody write down how they're feeling out there, because people are going to ask us. People will ask us in future years, what was it like? So let's write it down. Let's write it down. Let's take attention to the details of what we're going through. It's great to see you. Are you going to stay? Are you here for the long night? Are you believing at the break of day? It's great to see you. Yeah, it's true. It's great to see you. It's great to be near you. It's all about the times we share. It's all about the times we share. Much love to all my family, all of you, and all of your families. It's all about the times we share. We're going to keep the Sunday broadcast going as long as we got to be indoors. It's all about the times. John Elliott, tune into him. We can actually hear him on his broadcast. Find his webpage there, John Elliott. That's 2 L's and 2 T's. One more time. Roll down the windows in the car. Take one earbud out of your ear if you're walking. Open up the windows in your house and let's sing together. It's all about the... Yeah, nice. I think I can hear you over there in Birchwood. It's all about the times. I think I can hear something coming all the way from St. Louis. It's all about the times. Oh yeah, Buffalo. Buffalo, I hear Buffalo for sure. Nice, Buffalo. It's all about